This is the 5.1 to 5.4 test review. Number one, we have f of x equals 1/3 to the x minus 1 plus 2. What I'm going to do is set up the equation for 1/3 to the x and make a table of values using an xy table, plugging in the values of -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And once I find these points, I will apply the transformations that are identified from the original problem. With x minus 1 in the exponent, that tells me to shift to the right by 1 unit. And with this plus 2 outside of the exponential function, that tells me to be shifting up by 2 units. Okay, so when I plug in these exponents, it might be easier to start with the positive exponents because 1/3 squared is just taking the 1 squared and the 3 squared to get 1/9. And when I plug in 1 for x, that's 1/3 to the first power. And any number to the first power is going to be that same number. So 1/3. 1/3 to the 0, any number to the 0 power is 1. And now that I know my positive exponents, my negative exponents are just the reciprocal value of the positive exponents. So for -1, it is the reciprocal of 1/3. And the reciprocal of 1/3 is 3/1, or 3. And for -2, it's the reciprocal of +2. And so the reciprocal of 1/9 is 9. So that's probably the easiest way to fill out this table. Now what I'm going to do is I will identify the points, and before I plot the actual point down on my graph, I will move to the right by 1 and then up by 2, and I'm going to do that for each and every point. So go over to -2 and up to 9. Okay, that would be right there. But now before I actually draw my dot, I'm going to move my pencil 1 to the right and up 2 units, and then I will plot my point. For -1, 3, I'm going to do the same thing. So there's -1, 3, and we're going to the right 1 and up 2. 0, 1 is right here. Then I will go over to the right 1 and up 2. For 1 and 1/3, that's about right there. Go over 1 and up 2. And 2 and 1/9, that's really close to the x-axis. So right 1 and up 2. It's going to be really close to the number, the y equal 2 line. And if you think about this, for my asymptote is y equals 2. So I know that when I have the, when I'm drawing out my line, instead of getting closer and closer to 0, it's getting closer and closer to 2. So now I'm going to just try to graph this the best I can with my tablet here. And that's what your graph is going to look like. And now I'm going to look at number 2. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a table of values for the basic function of 4 to the x. So 4 to the x, again, I will make an xy table. I will plug in -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And when I plug those in, I will get 4 squared is 16. 4 to the first is 4. 4 to the 0 is 1. Now the reciprocal values, the reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. And the reciprocal of 16 is 1/16. And when I plot those, I need to know that this means right 2 units and down 2 units. So when I go to negative 2 and 1/16, I'm going to go right 2 units and down 2 units. And it's going to be extremely close to that y equal negative 2 line. For negative 1 and 1/4, now go over 2 and down 2. So it's going to be about right there. For 0, 1, go right 2 and down 2. For 1, 4, go right 2 and down 2. And for 2, 16, go right 2 and down 2. Okay, you can see my curve is going from left to right, it's going up. So let's see how I can do here. All right, not too bad. Okay, that's number 2. And number 3, what I'm going to focus on here is the exponential part, is the 2 to the x. So y equals 2 to the x. Make an xy table. Negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. I will plug those in. Again, I'm going to start with positive. So 2 to the second is 4. 2 to the first is 2. 2 to the 0 is 1. For negative 1, the reciprocal of 2 is 1/2. And for negative 2, the reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. Now this says to the right by 1 and up 2. And I also need to multiply by negative 1/4. So it's going to reflect downward, and then it's 1/4 of the value of y. So what I would want to do is apply the 1/4 value, the negative 1/4. So if I multiply 1/4 times negative 1/4, that is negative 1/16. So I am taking my y value. This is going to be y times negative 1/4 for this third column here. Okay, 1/2 times negative 1/4 is negative 1/8. That's negative 1/16 up there. So negative 1/8. 1 times negative 1/4 is negative 1/4. 2 times negative 1/4 is negative 1/2. And 4 times negative 1/4 is negative 1. So then when I plot these points, I can go right 1 and up 2. And my points are negative 2 and negative 1/16, negative 1 and negative 1/8, 0 and negative 1/4, 1 and negative 1/2, and 2 and negative 1. Now I don't see a lot of movement here. So what I might want to do is actually continue this down. And I might want to continue by values of 4, since I'm going to be multiplying by 4. So let's see, if I do, well, no, let's just go by even. Let's see, it doesn't matter. Let's try entering 3. Let's see what happens. 2 to the third is 8. I guess it won't matter. Okay, negative 1/4 times 8 is negative 2. I plug in 4. That's going to give me 16. And negative 1/4 times 16 is negative 4. When I plug in 5, that's 32. And negative 1/4 times 32 is negative 8. Okay, I think that's going to give me more to work with here. And 5, negative 8. Okay. So let's go ahead and plot these points. And maybe I'm going to start from here down and just plot those points. So, because these points are going to be harder to plot. And really all I need to do is get the general idea of the graph anyway. So 0 and negative 1/4. I'm going to move right 1 and up 2. So it's going to be right there. 1 and negative 1/2. So right 1 and up 2. 2, negative 1, right 1 up 2. 3, negative 2, and then right 1 and up 2. Nah, sorry, 3, 4, and negative 4, right 1 and up 2. 5 and negative 8, and go right 1 and up 2. Okay, so I can kind of start seeing that general curve that we're used to seeing for exponential functions. So I will draw my graph, and it's going down like that. Okay, so that's 1, 2, and 3. And I will continue in another video for the rest of the problems, or break them up anyway.